my channel. Today is our favorite time of the month because I am bringing back my Wheels of TBR game. So today we are going to be filming that. I do have all of my wheels pulled up here on my iPad, and we're just going to go over really quick how everything worked before and the things that I have changed for 2025. So I spent the month of, well, the end of December and into the month of January revamping this entire game. I know that there were a lot of people that were a little bit confused as to how we were doing this game, and so I wanted to make it a bit easier. So for this year, how we're going to do it is going to be 100% prompt based. I have a prompt wheel that has a whole bunch of prompts on it, and on the prompt wheel we have a bunch of prompts. I don't even know how many prompts there are, 50 maybe. There's a bunch of prompts. If you ever want to give me a prompt, you can send me one on Instagram or Discord, and then if you're in my Patreon, you can give me prompts over there as well. So I will make actually like a prompt channel over on the public Discord as well, but that is what we're doing. So my prompt wheel. So we spin the prompt wheel. We are usually, okay, so I will be rolling a 6-sided die. If we land on a number 4, if we land on number 4, 5, or 6, that is how many books we will read. If we land on number 1, 2, or 3, then we will roll again and add 1, 2, or 3 to whatever number we get on the second roll. This partly is because last year I found that there were a couple of times where I was only reading 1 or 2 books that were actually on a TBR, and then I didn't know what to read after. I am very much a mood reader, but I also need some guidance. So I need a TBR to mood read from. I can't just have a bunch of books out and then hope that I figure out what I want to read. So that is what we are going to do. So let's first talk about the books that I read for, let's first talk about the books that I read in the month of January. We're going to talk about each of the books I read, the ones I didn't, and why there were a few that I did not read. So first of all, I had 2 books on my 25 in 2025. So the first book on my 25 in 2025, there were 2, like I said, was Better Than the Movies. I did not end up reading this book. It is actually paused currently on my story graph because this has a plot. You're going to see this with both of my 2025 books, 25 and 2025 books this month. This has a dead mom plot. So the main female character, and it's not in the synopsis, but it is like in the first chapter. So if you think that that's a spoiler, okay, but like the entire plot is about how our main character, Liz, loves rom-coms and watches them in memory of her mom. The mom is brought up, I think, like 5 or 6 times in the first chapter. I ended up having to stop reading this on sprints after not getting very far in. I think I got less than 10 pages in before I was like, I can't do this right now. So that is a unique trigger to me. I'm aware of that, but it is one that is not conducive to right now. So it is paused. The other one I got for my 25 and 2025 is an arc, which is Out of the Woods. I do think this is gonna be a 5-star prediction for me, and because it's an arc, I will probably write my review for it anyways, because I do expect it to be a 5-star, and I did go read some reviews on the book so that I could understand what exactly happens in it. But this also has a dead mom trope within the first chapter, and I just could not. So I did text my friend Katie, who also got an arc of this book and had already read it, and I asked her how prevalent the dead mom is in this book, and she said she's very prevalent. So that one will be read as well eventually this year, but it will not be right now. So yeah, that's why. And this, again, I know this is a very unique trigger to me, but I have to protect my mental health this year, or this month specifically. So those two books will not get read until sometime after February. Then I did read Shadow and Bone, which I have here. I did end up reading Shadow and Bone. This is for my 2025 self-destruct. I do talk about this more in depth in my January Kindle Unlimited like KU clean out. So by the time you see this video, that big video should be out. So if you want my like unadulterated thoughts on this one, you can go watch that. I'm not going to go over like ratings or anything in this video, but I did end up reading Shadow and Bone, and I will be continuing that series. And then we had The Spell Shop, which I didn't bring up here, but we had The Spell Shop, which I was supposed to buddy read with my friend Katie. That did get put on hold, just for reasons that don't matter to this video, but that did get put on hold, so she and I will pick it up later on in the year at some point. I ended up adding a buddy read this month with my friend Brittany, which was for the book Dark Oz. We did end up reading that, and we are actually on book 2 at this point, so that was a success. And then I had my nonfiction and my classic for the month, which both of which I did read. Patreon will be getting, they might be up already. I don't know exactly what order all of these will go up, but if it's not already up for Patreon, Patreon will be getting a vlog for Beyond Self-Care Potato Chips by Amber Wardell. This was my nonfiction for the month. I did read it. And then they will also be getting a vlog for my classic for the month, which was To Kill a Mockingbird, which I also did read. So we did very well. The ones that I ended up DNFing this month were Fear and Desire. This was the owned Kindle book. I did this very differently for my January TBR. I just used the wheels I already had and spun them that way, because I didn't play a game this month, and I DNF'd that. And then my owned audiobook, which was The Last Song, I also DNF'd Nicholas Sparks. I'm just not in that era anymore. Like 2009, 2012, Neva was in that era. I'm not a Nicholas Sparks reader any longer, so those did end up getting DNF'd. But for the most part, I did read all of the books that I could read, and then I did pause 2. So I'm calling that successful. And we are going to move on to our 2025, I'm sorry, our February TBR. So really quick, I'm just going to go over the 2 books that I know I do have to read for February. So the first one is my nonfiction, which is The Third Gilmore Girl by Kelly Bishop. I will be reading this with my friend Brittany. We both have it, and we decided that we were going to go ahead and buddy read this. I'm super, super excited. Of course, I did grab a Gigi and Bo Gilmore Girls inspired bookmark, because you can't read a book about a Gilmore Girl without a Gilmore Girls inspired bookmark. I have heard truly nothing but wonderful things about this book. I know Jan from JanAgaton, she read it, she gave it a glowing 5 stars. Aoife read it, she gave it 5 stars. So I don't usually rate memoirs, but I just feel like this is going to be a 6-star book. It may be the best book of February for me, but that is my nonfiction for the month. And then my classic for the month is doing a reread of Jane Eyre. This is one of my favorite classics ever in life, other than To Kill a Mockingbird. This is one of my absolute favorites, but I wanted to do a reread of it. I haven't read it in a very long time, so I decided that that will be my February classic. And like I said, for both Jane Eyre and The Third Gilmore Girl, there will be vlogs for those, spoilery vlogs for Patreon. I also will be continuing my buddy read with Brittany. We will be reading the second Dark Oz book, which is The Witch is Dead. We have started it, but I don't think we'll be getting it done before February starts. So we will be reading that. And then I will be also finishing a buddy read with my friend Margaret for House of Bane and Blood. We did start this last year with Brittany, like in 2024 with Brittany, and then Brittany ended up reading it during like a 12 or 24-hour reading challenge. So Margaret and I will be finishing that together. And those are all the books that I must read for the month. I do have three readathons that I will be participating in the month of February. One of those is Romantasy-athon, which runs from February 15th to February 22nd. She is doing this via Instagram. I will try to link her Instagram down below. But you're going to a ball, and you have to read books. The prompts are based on like what you wear, your date, all of that, and you pick books based off of that. I believe you can double up on these. And then I will also be participating in JanTe's Inferno, which I am wearing Jan merch today. We love her. But I will be participating in JanTe's Inferno, which is, she started this last year, so this is the second year that we're doing it. But basically you have 10 days to get out of hell. So you start at the 9th circle and move up, and then, or the first circle and move up, whatever. But you move up. There are graphics and stuff. I will link her, announcement video down below, but that is running from February 6th to the 16th. So Romantasy-athon and JanTe's Inferno will kind of overlap for like one day, but that's okay. So that is what we're doing. And then I'm also helping to co-host Clue, which is run by Rereads. I have no prompts for that yet. That is a competitive readathon based on the board game Clue or Cluedo, depending on where you are in the world. And I am on Team Scarlet. Yes, Team Scarlet with Bree from the Bookstrovert. I'm so excited to host with her. I've never actually hosted with her before, as in like being on the same team. We've done readathons together before, but I have no prompts or anything for that, so we're just going to kind of plug and play with that. But I will be doing a separate TBR video specifically for Clue, just because, like I said, it's kind of a plug and play, and I'm going to be doing junior detective instead of lead detective, but that is for a different video. So let us go ahead and we will begin. Oh gosh, okay, we will begin. So I'm going to roll my 6-sided die and see how many books we are going to be reading. Okay, so I got, maybe if it'll focus, I got a 6. So we will be spinning the prompt wheel 6 times, and then I will find books based on the prompts. So I think that this year what I'm going to do is I'm going to spin the wheel all 6 times. We're going to write the prompts down, and then I will go find the books, come back, and walk you through the books that I picked for each prompt. Does that make sense? Just because my books are downstairs and I don't want to have to like pause a whole bunch of times. So we're gonna spin 6 times, and I'm going to write them down on my spreadsheet in my little monthly TBR tracker, and that's what we're going to do. So let us spin for book number 1, or prompt number 1, I should say. Okay, so our first prompt is a free pick, which is wonderful. With free picks, I think what I'm going to be doing this month is I'm going to save my free picks. I know I said I was going to spin this 6 times, but I want to explain that I will not have a book for free pick, because I'm going to kind of leave that to myself. A lot of times I will pick up a random book on Kindle Unlimited or something. So free picks are going to truly be, well, no, I lied. Free pick, I will pick a book, and I'll just know that this was the book that I picked for that, because I do also have a mood read prompt, and mood read is truly a mood read, so I won't do that with free pick. Free pick, I will pick a book. All right, so spin number 2. Okay, a book with pretty edges, which thank God I have a lot of those. All right, spin number 3. Oh, a book with chapter titles. Okay, chapter titles, which I will probably try to find a physical book for that, just because chapter titles are hard sometimes. Okay, chapter titles. Okay, spin number 4. Okay, a Romantasy, which we're going to be reading a lot of Romantasy this month anyway for Romantasy-athon, so that's good. Spin number 5. Okay, a horror. And spin number 6. Most read genre. Okay, so we have our 6 prompts. So we have free pick, pretty edges, chapter titles, romantasy, horror, and most read genre. Now what I am going to do is I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to spin for 225 in 2025 books. The reason for this is because I want to make sure that these get on the list in case I don't pick any up. And then I'm also from downstairs, and then I'm also going to spin, so we're going to do 225 in 25 in 2025, and then we're also going to spin for a 12 Rex from 12 Friends, and we're going to spin for a 2025 self-destruct. So that's what we're going to do today. So let's go ahead and we will spin for our 25 in 2025 books first. So we'll do 25 in 2025, 12 Rex and 12 Friends, and then the 2025 self-destruct. I will explain really quick what all these are. So 25 in 2025, I'm using a bingo board that my friend Brianna from Four Paws and a book made. This bingo board has prompts on it, and I picked books at the end of the year based off of the prompts that were given to us. So in order to keep up to date with that, I do have to read 2 a month, and at this point I'm behind because I didn't actually read any last month. So even if I do pick up for like prompts, I pick up like 2 more, then I'll be back on track. My 12 Rex from 12 Friends, this was a board graphic that I posted to my Instagram stories, and I had 12 friends commented on the story and gave me books. So that is that. And then we have the 2025 self-destruct. These are books that I have to read by the end of the year, or they have to be on hold. So they have to be read, DNF'd, read, kept, read, unhauled, DNF'd, kept, DNF'd, unhauled, or not read and unhauled. So if I don't read them, they have to be unhauled. The exception to this rule is I do have 1 book on that list that was technically given as a gift. I will not unhaul that. And then any books, I have a couple of books on there that also have like sprayed edges, so those will not be unhauled. They will just be stored on my shelf. So let's spin for our 225 in 2025 books. So this is the first one. Also, I will veto if I get like out of the woods again for this. Okay, so the first one we have is Phantasma, which I do have available on KU, which is why it says KU, is because then I know where I can, if I can find it on Kindle Unlimited. Technically I could double up on this one. I'm not going to. I'm going to challenge myself this year to actually fill each prompt and not double up on prompts, so there's that. All right, so Phantasma is the first one. Okay, and then Break the Girl is the second one. So Phantasma, I know, is a Kindle Unlimited, I think it's Romantasy. I'm being told that if you liked Danny Phantom, then you, like, if you simped for Danny Phantom, then you'll simp for the main character in this book. And then Break the Girl is a KU dark hockey romance. So wonderful. I think that will be a great time. So we're going to spin for our 12 Rex and 12 Friends and our 2025 Self-Destruct. I'm actually going to pull up the graphic that I have for the Self-Destruct really quick, because, or not Self-Destruct, for the 12 Friends, because then I can tell you who gave me what books. All right, so we are going to spin for one book from 12 Rex, from 12 Friends. I'm actually, do I want to spin for two? No, we're going to spin for one. And then if I pick up another one this month, that's fine, but we're just going to spin for one for now. Okay, so we got Hooked by Sutton Foster. This is the book that was given to me by my friend Amy. I will link her channel down below because she does have a YouTube channel. Yes, Amy's Bookish Life. I will read that. This is a nonfiction about crafting, which we love to see. So, Hooked, and this is Amy's pick. So, we will be reading that for 12 Rex from 12 Besties, or 12 Rex from 12 Friends. I think last year I called it 12 Rex from 12 Besties, but whatever. They're all my besties. It's fine. So, the last thing that we're going to spin for is my 2025 Self-Destruct, and then I'm going to run downstairs. We're going to find all the books for our prompts, and then I will come back up here. We'll talk about them. We'll discuss them. We'll say what we're reading. And then at the end of the video, we're going to talk about rewards and punishments, because I have changed the way I'm doing both of those things this year, just simply because I needed to change it and I can't take all the credit. So we are going to do our 2025 Self-Destruct. Okay, so let's spin. Okay, so our 2025 Self-Destruct book is Hopeless by Colleen Hoover. This is a book that has been sitting on my TBR for 500 years. I think I bought it in 2023 when I went out to visit Rainy. I bought it because I needed to finish out the books by Colleen Hoover that I owned, and now I own like every book this woman's ever written, so I need to read them or they need to get off my shelf. Okay, so those are the books that I spent for. I'm going to now go downstairs. I'm going to find the books that I need for each of the prompts, and then I will come back and we will talk about all of the books that I picked out. Okay, I have my stack of books here that we're going to go over. So the first prompt that we spun for was free pick. So for that, I am going to read House of Hollow by Crystal Sutherland. This is a Self-Destruct book, but no, it's not. This is is it 2025? This was given to me as a gift, so it's not a Self-Destruct book. No, this is just a book that needs to be read, to be honest with you. So House of Hollow, this is a weird girl horror book. I believe it's YA horror, about Iris and her two older sisters. Iris goes missing and they're on like a hunt to find her. So that is what this is. I've never read this. It was given to me a couple of years ago by my friend Rainy for my birthday, and I need to get to it. So this is the first book that I will be reading, House of Hollow. Then we have a book with pretty edges. So for my birthday this year, my friends Emma and Ollie sent me the collector's edition of Her Soul to Take. This has beautiful edges on it, as you can see. I may not read this actual copy, but I wanted a book that had pretty edges. But this one I actually do have in paperback, so I probably will either read this one as a paperback or on my Kindle. I'm thinking paperback because I really do actually like how floppy the paperback is, but that's downstairs. But because I do have a copy of it with pretty edges, I'm going to count it. So this is a demon reverse harem, demon human smut book. Romance. It's dark romance. There is plot to this. I have read the first like 5 chapters, not 5 pages, 5 chapters. I did read last year. Actually, this was for Christmas, not my birthday. But yeah, it's really pretty, and like this book is so pretty. So you have the reversible cover on it. There's a bonus chapter apparently, and then you have this stunning pink card, black and pink like hard, what is this called, you know, the cover, the naked book. So this is honestly a stunning edition of this book, and I hope that Harley LaRue brings out the rest of them in this same little collector's edition. But that is what I'm reading for Pretty Edges. For chapter titles, this took way longer for me to find than I was expecting, but I am going to finally finish Leather and Lark. I am a little bit into this one, about 36 pages, so we are going to finish Leather and Lark. This does have chapter titles for each chapter. I think they are song lyrics or something, but they do have chapter titles here and actually no chapter numbers, so that is what we will be reading for that. Do you know how hard it is to find a book with chapter titles? Come on, people. Then the next one I have is the Romantasy pick, and for that, where is it? Here it is. For that, we are going to be doing a reread of Serpent in the Wings of Night. I actually think this book has chapter titles too. No, it doesn't. Okay, we're going to be doing my reread of Serpent in the Wings of Night. This was actually picked for me by Ari. She picked it for something. I don't remember why. Oh, because she wanted to pick a book for me to read. So this I also need to read just because I need to finish the series this year. And I own the next 2 books in this series. I own the novella and then the second full-length novel. And I would like to buy the 3rd full-length novel, but I have to finish the books that I already have. So this is like a vampire romantasy, humans and vampires romantasy book. This should also work for Romantasy-athon. I actually think that I have it on there, and I'm going to see if these, basically with JanTe's Inferno, I'm plugging and playing books. So some of these should work for that as well. But this one specifically is on my Romantasy-athon TBR because I knew I needed to reread this before I could move on. Editing Diva here, just popping in to let you know that I'm also helping to co-host Get a Clue Readathon, which was created by my friend Rainy from Rainy Blue Reads, and I will be co-hosting with Bree from the Brookshriver, and we are on Team Scarlet, so come and join us if you want to hang out with us, have some sprints, and a good time. Okay, that's all I have to say. All right, bye! Then we got a horror book. So for that, I grabbed Middle of the Night by Riley Sager. This is advertised as a horror thriller or a thriller horror, and I'm ready for it. Okay, I got this last year when it first came out. Riley Sager and Grady Hendrix to me are one in the same vein, like they're very similar authors, and I will buy anything that the 2 of them write. So we need to read Riley Sager. She's been sitting on the shelf too long. She should have been read in October, but I didn't get to her, so we're gonna read this. I know that not a lot of people loved this book, however, I'm known to love Riley Sager that others did not. Okay, House Across the Lake, I'm looking at you. I loved that book. I gave it 5 stars. 6 stars probably if I was doing 6 back then, and other people hated that book. Okay, so we love him. Okay, so that's what I picked for horror. And then for most read genre, I picked There Are No Saints. This is the first book in the Sinner's Duet by Sophie Lark. I have read this book before, but I need to reread it so I can read the second one because I remember nothing of this book. And I'm probably actually going to read it physically this time. There are pictures in here. Let me find one that's like safe for work so that y'all don't get... and I do remember liking this. I remember giving it like 4 or 5 stars the first time that I read it. but I bought these editions specifically because they have the stunning illustrations in them, which she's been doing with, I think, all of her books, at least the ones that were originally done. If I don't want to read this physically, I can get them on Kindle Unlimited. So I can read them on my Kindle if I want to, but I really try to read more physical books this year. So if I can make myself sit down and read this book physically, I will. So that is what we're reading for most read genre, because my most read genre is romance, according to my stats last year, which isn't really a surprise. And then for 25 and 2025, I had 2 books. I had Phantasma and I had Break the Girl, both of which are on Kindle Unlimited, so I'll be reading those on my Kindle. Unless I buy either one of them before then I'll hold them up. But then for 12 Recs from 12 Friends, I have Hooked. This was a book given to me by my friend Amy. And for 2025 Self-Destruct, we will be reading Hopeless by Colleen Hoover. This is the first book in the Hopeless series. So let's go. You know what I mean? So Hopeless. I don't know how excited for this I am. I do own this on my Kindle, so she may be a Kindle girly read, but we will see. So that is all of, oh, and then of course I said this already, but I will be reading Jane Eyre as my monthly classic and The Third Gilmore Girl as my monthly non-fiction. So technically I do have 2 non-fictions this month, but one of them was a 12 Recs from 12 Friends, and I'm not counting those towards my like non-fiction goal. I picked 12 non-fiction at the beginning of the year, and those are the books I have to read for my non-fictions. So let's hold up our book stack if I don't drop it first. I'll grab my Kindle too, because I will be reading some books via her. We love her. She is stunning. She is Grace. So these are all of my books that I have. So I have 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12. Yeah, 12 books. If we don't count like buddy reads, but on my actual TBR, we have 12 books. I own 2, 4, 6, 8, 9 of them physically. I have a few on my Kindle, so it's a good hefty book stack this month. I'm so excited to read these. So excited for y'all to come along on this journey with me. Thank you so much for watching. Let me know down below what you will be reading this month, or if you have read any of these books and think that I should start with one specifically. A lot of times I let a spinner wheel decide what I'm reading, if I'm being honest, just because I need the TBR, but I need to also not make choices. Like, I need the TBR and I also want to mood read, so I will veto it if I spin and I get one I don't want. But I also need to be told what to read. So I'm a very complicated girl. So these are all of our books. Can't wait. And if you don't really have anything that you want to say down below, if you don't want to share with me what you're reading, that is perfectly fine. Go ahead and leave me a book stack emoji down in the comments, since we are bringing back Wheels of TBR. She is here to stay. She is beauty, she is gray, she's here to stay. And this is how we will play every month from here on out. Also, because I almost forgot before we leave, let me talk really quick about punishments and rewards. So this year I will not be doing punishments at all. If I don't finish the books, I don't finish the books. They get put back on the wheels, their respective wheels, and we try again next month. I am counting a book as read if 1, I actually read it and finished it, 2, if I started it and DNF'd it, or 3, if I went ahead and started it before the month ended. Because theoretically, this is how my brain works. If I've already started the book, I will finish it at some point in the year. So even if it carries on from now until December, eventually by the end of the year, I will have read all the books that I'm supposed to read, because I don't like to have a bunch of books on my currently reading at the end of each year. So they will get read. If I have to take them into multiple months or whatever, they will get read. They'll just always be put on the TBR as books that I need to read, and that is perfectly fine. However, I will be doing rewards this year, so I'm going to be ordering some like fake like Monopoly money and also a cash envelope system. And what I'm going to be doing is using the Monopoly money to reward myself. So I do all of my banking and money stuff digitally. I do not, we use Apple Pay in this house. I do not like to carry around cash. First of all, it's dirty, okay? And I stopped really carrying cash in 2020 other than for like an emergency like cash allowance. Sometimes I will have that, but for the most part I do not carry cash. So stuffing envelopes is not really an option for me. So I am using an app to do savings trackers that way. So for every book on my TBR that I do finish, I will make $1, with the exception of January. I'm not counting for January. Technically I would have given myself $7 for that, but because I didn't do an actual TBR game last month, I'm skipping January. That just makes me feel better about it, okay? I want to earn it the way that I'm supposed to. So for every book on my TBR, so any of these that I've already said that I read and complete, so they will count as read, like I will count it as successful if, say, I started House of Hollow, even if I didn't finish it, but I will not get rewarded for House of Hollow because I didn't finish it within the month that it was given. I hope that makes sense. And then because this year I also really want to focus on series, I have three main series that y'all will see vlogs for, so I'm not telling you what they are, but I have 3 main series that I want to focus on throughout this year. And for every series that I complete, so this can be one of those 3 series, or it can be random series that I read throughout the year. For every series of books that I complete, I will give myself $5. So I will be keeping track again with Monopoly money. So at the beginning of each month, we will go through and you'll see me like stuff the envelope with how much money I got for the month, and it's gonna be such a fun, I think that'll be just like a fun challenge, you know? Some months I might make no money, some months I might make 50 bucks, who knows? And then at the end of 2025, I will get to spend that money on whatever it is that I want. Again, I am putting these in savings envelopes. I'm using Rocket Money, if anyone wants to know, because I attach it to your bank account and then put all of your money in there, so you're actually moving real money as opposed to trying to keep track of what money is supposed to be moved. Okay, I don't want to do that. So I am going to do that. It's going to be a great time, and that's it. So again, if you don't have anything to say to me, thank you so much for watching anyway. Thank you to everyone for watching, and leave me a book stack emoji down below. Otherwise, let me know what you're reading, or if you think I should start somewhere specific with this stack of books, and I will see y'all in the next one. Bye.